Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. There's a lot to talk about today. Okay, big court case between SEC and Ripple. We got to talk about that. We also got to talk about Ledger hardware wallet. What's going on with them? Not your keys, not your crypto. And let's talk about Bitcoin and its projected breakout. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get started. Welcome, 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 guys. You know, the Lakers are not doing so hot right now, but as soon as I get off and watch them, it's going to be different. But right now, Bitcoin is at 27.1. So still hanging in there. Bitcoin not moving a whole lot, right? But you know what? Biden, McCarthy, hopeful on a debt ceiling deal, right? There's a lot of talks about the debt ceiling and debt ceiling crisis, right? When is it going to end, right? I'm even sick of talking about it, but look at this. Look at this. The Treasury's balance sheet, 87 billion a day ago, now down to 52 billion. So the U.S. Treasury is about to run out of money. That's no good. No good at all. So that is why the debt ceiling needs to be raised, so that the U.S. can print more money. That's what it comes down to. It's almost at zero, guys. It's almost at zero. So this is not a good situation, which is why the U.S. market, stock market, crypto market kind of stands still. But, you know, we just don't know. Right? Well, I kind of know. I mean, they're going to resolve it, right? They're not going to risk throwing the U.S. economy into Armageddon. But with that said, you know, inflation and endless printing, it never ends well, right? Look at Venezuela. As bad as it is in Venezuela, they have declared they're not going to use the U.S. dollar anymore. They're getting off the USD. This is after hearing Argentina, when they're doing trade, right, they're actually paying for things in yuan. So now you got another country in Latin America that's talking about, well, no, they have declared they're getting off the dollar. What's going on with that, right? See, this is why as a country you got to be responsible with your money. Not that Venezuela is a good example because they suffer from hyperinflation, but, you know, if you let things go out of hand, right, out of control with that money printer, you know, bad things happen, right? So now, yeah, you got countries that's starting to get off the USD. You still have inflation. You have this endless printing cycle because of the debt ceiling and the U.S., you know, out of money. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's why there are still a lot of bulls out there thinking that, hey, 35,000 is right around the corner, especially when you see the number of holders increasing. Now you have 1 million, more than 1 million addresses holding at least one Bitcoin. That's not a coincidence. It's going up more and more and more every single day because of all the shenanigans that people are hearing about. They're like, no, I want to opt out. I want to opt out of the USD. I want to opt out of the financial system. I want to opt out of my bank. Opting out and opting into Bitcoin, right? That's what's happening. And currently, if you look at where Bitcoin is right now and you look at, well, what happened in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, pretty similar coming off from top, right? Forming that bottom, now recovery, but recovery is never right away, right? And the way we're going, right, we may be here a little bit longer, and then boom, we could be right back above to $50,000, and then maybe retrace a little bit afterwards, okay? But looking pretty similar, But, of course, long-term, Kathy Wood, ARK Invest, they think this is barely scratching the surface. By 2030, Bitcoin's worst case scenario, according to ARK Invest, is $258,500. That's absolute worst case scenario. But let's say neutral, just a base case. Bitcoin should be at $682,800. Think about it. That's middle ground. And in the best case scenario, bull case, 1.5 million for each Bitcoin. We're talking about 2030, okay? We're not talking about like 2130. We're not talking about over 100 years. This is just within 7 years. According to ARK Invest, the worst case scenario in 7 years, Bitcoin is going to be at $250,000. But best case scenario, 1.5 million. And that's because they believe Bitcoin is going to suck up liquidity from all these other assets, like corporate treasuries, or nation state treasuries, or institutional investments, or digital gold. I mean, there's just a lot to pull from, right? So this is why you need to stay strong and ignore the FUD. There's a lot of FUD short term, but long term, this is where we are heading. Looking good. Looking pretty good. Now, what about some of these other news? Okay. I know, let's talk about the SEC news. SEC, you know, they're having a rough patch right now. Okay. Gary, not having so much fun right now. Just yesterday, they responded to Coinbase saying Coinbase request should be denied, even though the court already ruled, hey, you better give them an answer. You have 10 days to do so, and I don't know how many days they have left. And today, Ripple loses again to, SEC loses again to Ripple because they want to seal the Hinman docs. So this is, if you think about that, it's ridiculous. Right? These, you know, the Freedom of Information Act should allow anyone, any U.S. citizen, to request any, like, you know, any ruling, any important information that has been ruled, right, by the agencies. So when you have a prior director of the SEC and he made comments like, hey, Ethereum is not a security, right? People should be able to see that. People should be able to say, okay, this is what he said. And other projects should be able to see it too and use that as a defense against the SEC. But, you know, the SEC doesn't want that. Gary doesn't want that. That's why Gary has been trying to seal these documents forever. Not only sealing them from Ripple, which they have lost, and Ripple finally got their hands on it, but then afterwards, SEC is like, no, you know, we got to seal it from everyone else. So no one else can use the testimonies and everything else that came out from this prior director. And the court's like, no, you can't do that. Everyone should be able to see it, right? That's pretty important. It's not like, you know, it's not like a state secret, right? It's not national security. I get it. You know, there may be some things that need to be redacted if it's national security. But this is not. This is just a prior director and his expertise, his determination of why he thought that Ethereum was not a security. That's it. You know, it's not a national security thing. But according to Gary, it is. But I'm glad to see that he lost. He lost against Ripple on this. So, I mean, the bottom line is, I think they're going to lose. Okay? More signs pointing to the SEC losing this groundbreaking case that costed Ripple $200 million. $200 million to fight the SEC, and they seem like they're in a position to win, right? It's going to be absolutely huge for XRP and absolutely huge for an entire industry, okay? I mean, like Coinbase and everyone else, if Ripple wins, should like donate some money to them because that's an enormous amount of money they use to not only defend themselves, but also really to defend the entire crypto industry if you think about it, right? Everyone should just chip in to pay them a little bit back for the $200 million that they spent. But if you think about any other project out there, no one else has the resources to do this, maybe besides Coinbase, right? But everyone else, they don't have the resources to do this. That's why they cave one after another, after another, after another. But, you know, I'm glad to see this happen. This is absolutely huge. And I'm waiting for the day when this gets announced that Ripple wins. Either Ripple wins or the SEC settles whatever the case is, but Ripple wins. I'm waiting for that to happen. All right. What else is going on? Well, you know, Samsung, well, no, not Samsung. Solana launched their smartphone. I don't know why I'm covering this because this is pretty ridiculous. You know, Solana phone, right? You guys know CERN Labs. This is what it sounds like. But the reason why I'm covering this is because Samsung is also copying Solana, and they're going to have an offline mode for your seed phrase. Okay, so that way you're protected. And even though it's on your phone, even Android can't access it. That's like the premise behind the Solana phone, but now Samsung's copying the same thing. So it basically makes this whole endeavor absolutely pointless. I don't know one person that said, oh, I bought the Solana phone, it's the best phone ever. I mean, when they announced this, I just knew it was just totally ridiculous. And now Samsung's copying it, and I'm sure Apple will copy it soon, and it'll be, you know, it'll be just like the CERN Labs phone. However, I'm bringing this up to make a point, right? Seed phrase, your recovery phrase, that's like the ultimate thing that you need to safeguard, right? That is what allows you to access your crypto on the blockchains, okay? And today, this morning, a lot of people were asking me, what do you think about Ledger and what do they do? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I discovered this is what they're talking about. Ledger decided that it was a good idea to come out with a recovery service. Okay, so with their Nano X's, so as far as I know, this is only available on Nano X's, not S, X's. So you can subscribe to this feature called Ledger Recover, which you pay $9.95, $10 basically. And it will download your seed phrase and then encrypt it and spread it around to 3 different third-party custodians, so to speak, right? And then if you ever need to recover, each one of these, you know, will be responsible to like put back together your recovery phrase, right? So basically, in Ledger's mind, this is awesome, okay? First of all, no one entity can hold your seed phrase. And there's a lot of people that always complain that they lost, you know, their phrase and the recovery key. But this goes against like Bitcoiners, Bitcoin maxis. I mean, you know, just self-custody maxis, or just crypto people in general that believe that you need to control your own keys. You need to hold it, not your keys, not your crypto. So this whole ideology that you need to safeguard your own crypto, well, Ledger just said, screw that, screw that. We think we know best. In fact, the CEO just did a Twitter Spaces and said this. I don't know who he's talking to, but he said, you're saying this is not what customers want. Actually, this is what future customers want. This is the way that the next hundreds of millions of people will actually onboard to crypto. So that's interesting. So he's applying a Web 2 philosophy, which is just really easy recovery, applying it to something that's very hardcore in nature for crypto, right? And that's the ideology of you need to safeguard your own crypto. You need to safeguard your own keys, right? Not your keys, not your crypto. So bottom line, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this, okay? I mean, there's a lot of questions. Yes, I could see how there are some people that are new to this space that don't know what is going on, and maybe they lose their key or something. They may want to do this. But then again, those people probably just stick with centralized exchanges, right? They'll just enjoy their Coinbases of the world. For people that are actually using a ledger, first of all, they've learned that, yeah, you can self-custody your own crypto, right? And you know, if you know how to do that, well, then you should know that, hey, a ledger is a cold wallet. You need to keep it unplugged, right? But also you need to keep your recovery phrase protected, right? You should know that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say this is not a good thing. And here's the other thing. Even if this was a good idea, I'm just saying, even if this was a good idea. So they're taking your private key and they're encrypting it and they're spreading to 3 different entities, okay? And they argue that that's how, you know, that's how no one has your phrase until you ask for it back and then it can be recovered, okay? Who are these 3 companies? You have someone called CoinCover, Ledger themselves, and an independent backup service provider. Who was that? Like, they don't even specify who the 3rd company is, which is very weird, right? And who is CoinCover? Maybe they're a big custody service. Maybe they're not. I've never heard of them, right? But here's also the question mark. What if one of these 2 companies go under, right? What if CoinCover goes under? What happens to the 3rd that they control? Or what happens to this independent backup service provider, right? What if they go under? Then what happens to that 3rd? See, there's a lot of question marks. So basically, if you have this service, you need to then back up these 3 services, right? In case anyone goes down, right? So you need a backup of the backup. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And here's the other thing that people are complaining about, because if you could simply turn the service on for Nano X's, that means there's already a back door built in. That means they already planned for this all along, and they can turn on that back door and take your recovery phrase whenever they want to. And people didn't know this. So that's already built into the Nano X's. It's not like you're sending in your Nano for them to do this, right? You don't even have to send them your recovery phrase. They already know by just turning it on. So that also scares the hell out of a lot of people, that they built in this back door that people didn't know about. So again, this is not a good look for Ledger. And there's a lot of question marks, right? So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know if they are actually going to backtrack and say this is a bad idea. And maybe they're going to release a new Nano X that you could purchase that doesn't have this back door built in. Because if you think about it, it's kind of scary, right? And as far as I know, this is the X version. Like, I use the S. So I don't think it has it built in, but maybe it does. We don't know. Now this is causing a lot of controversy. So right now, I'm going to say maybe Treasure is a better option, although I've never used Treasure before. There are other options. Of course, there's a lot of hardware wallet options, and there's browser-based wallets too, and mobile wallets. But Ledger, I don't know. I don't know about this, so I may have to change my mind on hardware wallets from Ledger in the future, unless they somehow fix all this. This is worse than when their email servers got hacked before, and then people started getting spammed. This is actually much worse than that. All right, so what else is there? Unfortunately, there's another controversy with another wallet maker, and not just Ledger. According to this person, Will Papper, and I'm sure other people covered it, Metamask has new terms, and I just accepted it. I didn't even know what the terms said, but basically, they're enforcing that, hey, if something goes wrong, you cannot sue MetaMask or Consensus. Basically, if you have a dispute, you cannot take them to court. And that is part of this new agreement that you have just accepted for those of you guys that hit accept. So this person discovered that if you want to opt out, you have 30 days to do so. And the only way to do it is by sending an email to notices@consensus.net with the subject line legal opt-out. And it must be within 30 days of your first use of the offerings. Otherwise, you are bound to arbitrate disputes and agree to waive any rights to pursue a class action in accordance to the terms of these paragraphs. So again, not a good look. We know that MetaMask in general had some issues before, right? And also, they don't have as much protection as some of the other wallets, right? But it does seem like MetaMask is under the rule of consensus. Yes, they were created by consensus. And, you know, we have heard of them complying to U.S. Justice Department. So they have blacklisted addresses, which people did not like at all, like with Tornado Cash and other addresses around the world. And now, you know, they have something like this. So, I mean, again, so today's not a good day for both of these wallet makers. So, yeah. So I just want to point that out as well. But you know who's a good wallet maker? One company that I'm advising for is RX. They don't have this problem, okay? They don't make you say that you can't sue them. Not that you will, but they don't force you to do that. And they also check contracts so that you don't just sign away all your crypto. And plus, they don't have any backdoor built in like Ledger that will take your seed phrase away, okay? They don't have any of these problems. This is why RXWall, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best wallet there is. It's a browser-based wallet. Soon they're going to have mobile, but browser-based wallet, you guys all should check it out with everything that's going on with Ledger and MetaMask. All right, lastly, what is there? What is there? I don't know, just a little bit of Polygon news. A lot of you guys are wondering what's going on with Polygon. You know, their ZK EVM. Their ZK EVM is growing by leaps and bounds, and they have this big partnership with Immutable X, right? So Immutable X is going to basically come out with a new chain using ZK EVM, and I've been told that a lot of games will be moving to it. So this whole partnership is actually bigger than it seems, but Polygon itself is still doing pretty good. And then you have a tokenized mutual fund that's also on top of Polygon as well. Yep. So they're still doing good. Very good indeed. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Gambler Degen. Did Ledger just Bud Light themselves? They may have. They actually may have. You know, they probably came out this because they were brainstorming a way to make more money, right? They wanted to charge people $10 for this recovery phrase. Just recovery phrases. So they're probably, you know, the big wigs around Ledger probably thinking, oh, you know, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. You know, this is probably something a lot of people want, right? But they alienated basically their entire customer base, kind of like Bud Light. It's okay to try to bring on new customers or new niches or new demographics, but you don't want to alienate your customer base. Think about it. Probably 100% of Ledger's customer base are people that believe in self-custody. Otherwise, why would they be using a Ledger in the first place? So they just came out with a service to appease maybe 1% of the people that may want this on Ledger, but pissed off 99% of the people that have a Ledger. This actually could be a Bud Light moment for Ledger. I mean, I would not be surprised if they backtrack on this. According to this, it's just the X. This service is offered on the X only. Okay. Right here. Owners of X wallet, not S, because I also have S and S plus. I don't think it affects either one. I think it's only X for now. RNGCRYP crypto. RNG crypto. Did you hear about Gala burning 20.9 billions from their supply? Huge. Yes, I heard it. Yes, I've heard of it, but didn't really do much. You know, burning, okay, just because someone burns a whole lot, and I'm not trying to spread FUD about Gala, but in general, you know, there's a lot of projects that burn, right? But that doesn't immediately cause a price shock because the number of holders that are holding, the number of holders or number of traders, I mean, they still, it's the same, right? I need to learn more about V2. So I know it's part of that. You know, they want to actually implement burning and they burn off large supply. So I need to learn more about V2, but yes. Stop talking about the Lakers. I need to watch them and they need to win. They need to set an example. Tell Jokic to go home and go fishing. Should I sell some crypto to finance the cash down of a rental duplex? Is that a smart move right now? I don't know, man. I'm not a real estate guy. I'm not your financial advisor. I cannot tell you that. But if you think it's a good deal, then you go do it. If you need the cash, then go ahead. But I think there's no better way to attain financial wealth or financial freedom than through crypto. That's it. That's it. Am I still bullish on Avalanche? Yes. Yes, I am. The Ledger seed phrase sharing is optional. Yes, if you pay for it. But the back door was built in already. Think about it. If you can opt in and they could take that away right away, then that means they already built that back door so that they can access it anytime they wanted to, right? So that's the thing. And yes, it is optional, but the fact that they're offering it is pissing off their customer base. Because their customer base are the hardcore people that think that Ledger is a true cold wallet and they should store their own recovery phrase, right? Maybe like if they came out with a new product or something, right? Maybe it's one that you voluntarily like type your recovery phrase on their website or something. It'll still piss off a lot of people, but at least that is like voluntary, right? This is like it's already built in, and now it's like really making a lot of people uneasy. So I get it. I get why a lot of people are upset. This morning I didn't understand what was going on, but now I kind of do. Am I attending the conference this week? Yes. Tomorrow I will be leaving for Miami for Bitcoin 2023. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to do a video like of my time there, right? May doing some interviews, may meet some of you guys if you guys are going to be there. My daily streaming is going to be affected, so I'm probably going to have a video every morning, but not at night. How would this impact multi-sig on Ledger? Joseph, I don't know. This is just coming out right now on X. So I don't know how it impacts everything else. I don't know. Will Robinhood list Pepe? Well, I don't know about that. Maybe. It makes sense. I thought for the longest time they would list sheep, and they held out for so long. I don't know why. It took them forever. So I don't know about Pepe. It makes sense, but they haven't. S Plus also are getting the update. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ledger's going to realize they made a big mistake. They're pissing off their base customers. I mean, I think Bud Light kind of proved, right? Like, you could try something new. You could try to go after a new demographic, but don't piss off your existing customers. Because if you do that, then you're going to be suffering. And I think that's exactly what Ledger did. So that's not good. And still, same thing with MetaMask. I think a lot of us use MetaMask all the time, right? But they don't have the same security measures as some of the other wallets like RX. And now they're saying, hey, if you use our product, you can't sue us. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. But still, why do they need to have that in their updated terms, right? And they're forcing you to accept it, or you have to opt out by emailing them. Notices at consensus.net, subject line, legal, opt out. I would say everyone should do that right away if you're using MetaMask, or you simply just move to RX because it's just a better wallet. It can do everything MetaMask can do, but even more. So, switch to RX. But what you don't want to do is switch to a Solana phone. This phone is dead on arrival. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall, a lot of FUD. A lot of FUD today around wallets. We got a victory against the SEC, so that's good. And there's still a lot of weird stuff going on with our U.S. government and the dollar being ditched. And you know what? That's all making Bitcoin stronger, so that's good as well. Peter, I appreciate that. I'll take you up on that offer. All right, guys, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in a few days. I'm not gonna be live streaming, probably gonna be recording videos for you guys. So yeah, at least you'll see me, up to date you guys on what I can. And if you're interested in a Solana phone, I got a video for you guys. It's actually really educational, and it relates to Ripple and XRP. So take a look.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.